Before I start this video, I just want to say that I purposefully sound like a pompous cunt because I know I'm right.
Welcome.
I'm gonna come out and say it. Necrophrygians as a whole are the most biologically superior species in all of Ben 10. Big Chill is a necrophrygian. Necrophrygians are cryokinetic anthropomorphic moth humanoids from the planet Kilmus. They are one of the two official inhabitants of the planet. Due to an ecological cataclysm that had happened eons ago, Kilmus is trapped in permafrost. That's about it. It doesn't explain how it happened or who caused it. It just says cataclysm in the wiki. Yet more proof that Warner is the undisputed king of fumbling. But back to necrophrygians. Their species reproduce asexually, and once every 80 years, they feed on metal to create a nest in which they may lay their eggs. Given their moth-like similarities, necrophrygians' wings are wrapped around their bodies like a robe when not in use, though they can fly without unraveling their wings, which calls into question the need for them outside of aesthetic purposes. Their powers and abilities are what really make them superior. Necrophrygians have the power of cryokinesis. They primarily shoot it from their mouths and have full control over the stream they eject, to the extent of splitting it into multiple streams to attack the same target and even bypass defenses. They can even shoot it out of their hands if need be. They also have the ability to go intangible. Now, this isn't anything new in Ben 10, as ectoneurites like Ghost Freak have that same ability and even more, but necrophrygian intangibility is a bit more different. Unlike ectoneurites who use their intangibility as a way to possess other beings, necrophrygian intangibility just adds to their existing power. When they go intangible, anything they touch or vice versa freezes on contact. Their ability is kind of funny because in the game Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Cosmic Destruction, whenever you turn into Big Chill and press the block button, he goes intangible and everything that attacks you freezes. Touching back on their flying capabilities, necrophrygians are pretty fast. Though they're no aerophibians or anything, so you won't get any warp speed feats, they are capable of outspeeding the likes of Rex Salazar, whose boogie pack is able to fly at 100 miles in only a couple of minutes. That's pretty fast. As babies, necrophrygians feed on solar plasma. Yes, despite the fact that they are an ice-based species, they are pretty resilient to heat. Big Chill, while pregnant, had at one point chugged an entire vat of molten steel. In fact, their frost breath is so strong that a couple of necrophrygian colonists had frozen half of the star McDilty and turned it into this. Hell, the frost breath is even able to put pyronites out of commission, and pyronites are capable of generating supernova levels of heat. Their resilience doesn't stop there, though, as they can shrug off overexposure to radiation from the likes of a freed Predation bee and deep sea compression. Oh yeah, they're also able to breathe underwater and survive in the vacuum of space.
My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me.
Now, the wiki does state that they have a couple of weaknesses. All but one of these weaknesses is kind of dumb because that's like if I were to say that Hispanics specifically have a weakness to firearms. All humans have a weakness to firearms. The point I'm trying to make is a good majority of these so-called weaknesses are shared amongst most aliens. Anyways, despite how their intangibility gives them an immunity to physical and energy-based attacks, they can be harmed by non-physical things like intense sound from the likes of an evolved Sonorosian, even while they are intangible. It's also completely useless when up against another necrophrygian for obvious reasons. Their frost breath has the capacity to work on themselves, and now I feel like I've been lied to. To an extent, electricity can harm them as well. The other weaknesses are not exclusive to them, but their number one weakness is predation. Despite necrophrygians being the most common species on Kilmus, they aren't the dominant species. That would go to the Cyclopteran. Cyclopterans are giant moth aliens and are also the dominant species of Kilmus. They have a rather interesting array of abilities. For one, they are immune to ice-based attacks. They, like their prey, can also go intangible, though they can't freeze anything on contact. Their flight speed is similar to that of their prey, but by far their most unique ability is that they release a red powder-like substance from their body. That, in combination with the beating of their wings, creates spirals that immediately hypnotizes anyone who looks into them. The victim is entranced, hallucinating their heart's desire while the Cyclopteran is left to feed on them. Because of this, Cyclopterans have been captured and smuggled throughout the galaxy, used for pleasure-seeking. They're pretty much captured to the point of endangerment, and I mean, is that really a bad thing? If you haven't caught on, the hypnotism isn't something that affects exclusively necrophrygians. It also affects every species, even humans.
Nick. Why are we still here?
To further prove my point, let's take Big Chill's ultimate form into account. Ultimate Big Chill is surprisingly enough not too different from regular Big Chill. Really a bad thing? If you haven't caught on, the hypnotism isn't something that affects exclusively necrophrygians. It also affects every species, even humans.
Nick. Why are we still here?
To further prove my point, let's take Big Chill's ultimate form into account. Ultimate Big Chill is surprisingly enough not too different from regular Big Chill. That may not seem like much, but if you take into account how the evolutionary feature works, the reality of them not changing is kind of a feat. The way it works is that the geno archetypes
What?
Your transformations!
are placed in millions of years of what's called the worst case scenario. This overexposure will eventually result in said transformation going through a forced evolution, making them a lot more combat ready and even giving them new or improved powers. In the case of Big Chill, this has given him the ability to breathe fire that, to quote the goat himself, is so cold it burns. Originally, I thought it was a reference to windburn, or the similarities that frostbites have to burns, but I was wrong. Big Chill shoots beams of plasma that simply consume all the heat from whatever it makes contact with, which explains why it freezes right afterward, meaning he retains all of his abilities but also gains a new, more interesting form of frost breath. Take into account, he hasn't evolved much when going through said worst case scenario, unlike Echo who completely changes, meaning the literal lore of the show agrees that Big Chill is biologically superior. I rest my case.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
Join the Discord, link is in the description. It's about as dead as me.